Due to the fact that my father is a fake celebrity and he is somebody who's well known in the music industry, I will not be using real names. I am not trying to get sued for defamation of character, but I'm going to try to be as obvious and not obvious as possible, if you understand that. But if you catch on, you will know who I'm talking about if you are familiar with social media. So before I start this, I just want to let everybody know that my father is very aware of who I am. I have tried to reach out to the family for the past 3 years. I am going to be 27 this year, and we found him on Instagram 3 years ago, and he still wants no parts of me whatsoever. We do look exactly alike, so it's not going to be too hard. If you guys want to go search and find him, you will. I was born 27 years ago in 94. My mother told him that she was pregnant with me. He didn't want to claim it. And then when I was finally born, my mother had to page him down. And then finally, she was able to reach somebody on the house phone that she called. And it was a female who picked up. The woman basically explained that she was waiting for this phone call because he's been out there with other women. And I guess this was his main chick or whatever you want to say. Who actually know the type of person he is. My father has continuously lied about everything, including his name. Y'all think this is real funny, I see. Like Saucy Santana, Beanie Sigel, Mandy Fresh, all these people. Like, y'all are real disrespectful. So just thank you for letting me know that I look like every fat rapper that's out there. Thank you. Since everybody's so invested in this story, I am going to restart it from the beginning. So basically, my mother and my father met when she was 17 years old. She was walking home from school one day. He pulled up on her. They exchanged numbers. My mother and him were fooling around, I guess you would call it, for 2 months before. I hope I got good angles going on before y'all start disrespecting me again. So my mother met him in September. She was pregnant December. Within those 2 months, it was basically strictly a friends with benefit situation. Nothing serious at all. She would go over his house and they would. Okay, I'm still looking into the legalities of being sued for defamation of character. I'm saying my truth. This is what I know. This is where it's facts to me, but some people are still in denial of the situation. If you go back to the first video, I clearly said I've tried to reach out to the family, including the person I call my father, aka my sperm donor, and he still wants nothing to do with me. He still denies all these allegations, but it's not an allegation because literally we are twins, so I can't. But like I said, once I know the legalities of what I can be sued for and can be sued for, then I will go way more into detail, maybe. But I'm going to give as much as I can give. I'm going to give you basically everything without saying any names that are obvious. So here comes December. My mother's telling him, I'm pregnant, whatever. He's not trying to hear that. He disappears. My mother's paging him all throughout these months. No answer, no response. MIA. 4 months down the line, she's 6 months pregnant at this time. She's just telling her mom that she's pregnant just because she was scared. My grandparents are Jamaican, so if you come from a Caribbean background, you already know you're not supposed to be out here doing adult things and having adult consequences. That is a big thing in the Caribbean culture. Whatever. My mother, unfortunately, winds up dropping out of high school to take care of me, so she wound up getting her GED. I was born in August, so she was supposed to graduate in June, but I'm here, of course. So from December to now August, my father is nowhere to be found. All right, so after my mom sends his mother the pictures, she doesn't hear anything from them ever again. So she's persistently trying to page to him and call his cell phone. Nobody's answering. Nobody's getting back to her until one day a lady finally gets back in touch with her, and she's basically like, who is this? You've been paging my fiance nonstop. My mother is like, I'm so-and-so, and me and your fiance have a child together, and I just want him to take care of the responsibilities, nothing that. And she's like, well, I'm not surprised about this phone call, and you're not the only one who's tried reaching out to him over a child that he has. I will relay the message. And then she's like, but wait, how old are you? My mother's like, I'm 18. She's like, oh, that's young. And my mother's like, what does that mean? Like, I'm 18 with a child and trying to make this man take care of his responsibilities. She's like, oh, nothing. But yeah, I relayed the message. And when she relayed the message, no, these people are too famous. Papoose is too famous. Jay-Z's too famous. No, I said fake celebrity. And a lot of y'all don't know what fake celebrity means, so I'm going to explain it. Fake celebrity is someone who is popping, right? You know them. but it's not someone who just come to mind, like how y'all automatically assume Papoose or Jay-Z. Those are real famous people. But someone who is fake famous is somebody that you probably would see scrolling down your social media like, nah, damn. If you see this person, you'd be like, nah, damn, that's him. Listen, I did tell you guys from the beginning, I will not be saying direct names. I just got to protect myself. But I am going to say that about 50% of you did get it completely right. Yes, you did. But I'm not going to say exactly who. If you want to know who, just look through the comments and follow the story. I'm going to be finishing the story between today and tomorrow. So like I said, my mother did find out that he was in jail, but during this time, over the course of like 15 years, she was trying to get child support. Even longer than that, she was trying to get child support. But unfortunately, because they couldn't find him since he was in jail in another state, they did close my case in 2015. As you can see in the background, it lists why, and they will no longer be providing any services, even though I never got anything. But it's all good. So I'm going to scroll down to 2018 when we actually found him. So my mom was on Instagram one day, and my mom seen that the celebrity who has a lot of power was cracking jokes on mad people. And it just so happened that my father popped up as one of the people he was making fun of. I come home. My mother's like, I think I found your father. Mind you, it's been 24 years. I've never seen this man in my life that I can remember as a baby. I've never seen him. So I look at the picture of him and I'm like, yo, we look just so like number one. But like, whose man's is this? Like, come on. And I've scrolled upon this page before and never even thought about it. But yeah, I become the feds and the ops and everything else in 24 hours. I literally found his name, his address, his phone number, everything I can possibly find. I just wanted to be sure before I put myself out there and put my life out there. You know what I'm saying? So after my mom finds him on Instagram, she does try to connect with him. She immediately writes him on Instagram and she's like, are you so-and-so from Brooklyn? He never opens the message, nothing. So then I'm like, you know what, let me try. It's kind of different now. I'm older, I'm 27, and it's not like a baby mother who's trying to look for their little kid's father, you know? So I'm like, let me reach out as the daughter. So as you can see, I tell him everything. Like from what I know that my mother's told me, I even put the car that he had at the time, the Jeep he had at the time, just so he can know, like, this ain't nothing fake. Like, this is not public information. You can't get this nowhere. You could barely get his age and his real name on the internet, unless you're really, really searching for something. You know what I'm saying? So I did reach out to him on Snapchat. Keep this in mind, it's 2018, so at that time, Snapchat is like Instagram stories, basically. And he just leaves me open. So at that point, I'm like, all right, I don't know where to go next, so let me talk to my aunt who actually had a conversation with him. So like I said, I did try to reach out to him via Snapchat, but then he just opened it, left me on red. So then my aunt was like, you know what, let me do it. Me and him had a conversation when we, was going through this whole thing when you were first born. So let me write him. She did write him, as you can see. She was asking for another paternity test. And once again, he left on scene and open. So at this point, I'm just like, it is what it is at this point. But then I find his phone number via Twitter. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should give him a call. Little do I think, like, this man is not going to answer no random phone number. He's a celebrity, well, fake celebrity. He ain't going to answer no random phone number. So one day me and my mother's talking in the car about the situation. I have the phone in my hand with his number ready to press. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it. Because what's the point? He didn't want to be in my life then. He doesn't want to be in there now. So what's the point? But I wound up pressing FaceTime by accident. Surely did. And hung up right away. So I call him by accident. I hang up right away. And he calls me back 30 seconds later. Not even. He FaceTimes me back. So I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. We're staring at each other's reflection. And I'm like, you know who this is? He just shakes his head. Just like this. And this says no. I'm still staring at him because I want you to see this is your whole reflection. There's no way you can deny me. He's just like, no, I don't know who this is. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, we've written you a couple times about the situation and you're not responding. You're leaving this open. So he's like, he starts saying something. I really don't remember what he said. All I know is that my mother's sitting right next to me. She then takes the phone from me and I'm like trying to see, like, once he sees her face, what is he going to say? He goes, oh, you want to do this right now? My mom was like, what you mean I want to do this right now? Like, we've been trying to contact you. He is somewhere around people. So he gets up as soon as possible so he can really, like, entertain the conversation. He hangs up. I honestly don't even think that would do anything. I mean, this happened 3 years ago when we first, tried to get in contact with him again. But I've thought about every option. Well, number one, I really didn't want to put myself out there like that. And number two, I was like, if he ain't acknowledging me now when I'm coming to you in private, why would he acknowledge me in public, So, like I said, he did wind up hanging up the phone, but he did call me back not even a minute later, but on the regular phone. He didn't FaceTime me back. So I'm guessing whoever he was with, he didn't want them to hear our conversation. So during this phone call, me and him spoke, and he's like, yo, like, what's going on? I see what you sent me. You sent me side-by-side pictures, and my assistant seen that, and I don't think this is the right way to go about things. And then he's like, you really think that I don't take care of my kids? And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I'm overwhelmed with emotion, number one. And number two, I'm like, well, clearly you don't take care of your kids, because I'm one of them. And we've been trying to contact you even back in the 90s. And you still wasn't trying to do a DNA test. And this is all we want is a DNA test, nothing more. So I started telling him the story that my mother told me. And then he's like, oh, well, whoever told you that really needs to get their facts straight. And I'm literally going fact for fact. Like, I'm saying the car that he had. I'm saying the things that used to be at his house, the toys his kids used to play with at his house. Honestly, at this point, I really don't know how much more obvious you want me to be. I don't. I really do not. Read the comments, sis. Sis, at this point, I don't know how much more obvious you want me to be. I already said why I'm not saying who he is, and I already made it more obvious than I should have. So you figure it out. Part 9. So at this point, we're having a conversation. I'm going over the story once again for probably like the 5th time, because remember, I wrote him via Snapchat, via Instagram, just trying to get in contact with him, basically. And then when I'm talking to him, I'm actually saying the cars he used to drive. I'm saying the toys his child used to play with. And that's still not giving him any type of memory of what I'm talking about. Well, he's having a case of amnesia at that point, I would say. Or better yet, acting amnesia. Then he tells me to put my mother on the phone. They speak briefly. Basically, he is like, I don't know what you're telling her, but it's not true. Like, I'm not here just, not having kids out on the street, basically. And my mother's like, what do you mean? Like, me and you had this conversation years ago already. He's like, nah, that's not me. You got it all wrong, but you could pass your daughter back the phone. I get back on the phone with him. He's like, listen, I don't know what your mother told you, but it's not true. And I'm going to call you back because my mother's calling me. Part 10. So after this whole conversation, I'm just feeling overwhelmed, of course. Me and my mother started talking about the situation once again. And then I decided to call my grandmother and my aunt. These are my mom, my grandmother, and my aunt are the 3 people that I go to, like, when situations like this happen. People who have been in the same experiences with me my whole entire life. So at this point, I'm like, you know what? Let's forget it. Because clearly, if I'm trying to put I don't even know how to say it. If I'm trying to give you the narrative for you to control it, that way I'm not going out to the public and seeking your attention, and you're not trying to even take it, you're just trying to ignore me, clearly you don't care. You clearly still want to be that beat. There's no point anymore. My aunt is like, you know what? Nah, we're not doing that again, because we did that for the last 24 years. Let me remind you, this is 3 years ago. We did that for the last 24 years. I'm not going to put my tail between my legs and shut up no more. My aunt proceeds to go, let me call him. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to send you his number. And little do we know, she FaceTimes him. He picks up. He's like, basically saying, not you FaceTiming me. And I don't know you. And my aunt is like, what do you mean not me FaceTiming you? This is a face-to-face conversation. And you not no stranger. We already had a conversation. You see, I don't even think he's going to respond to any of the Instagram comments. I think he's probably either going to delete all of them or turn his comments off. I mean, I'm already blocked from his Instagram, so I don't even care at this point. You see, that's what he thinks this is about. He even asks, but I'm going to get to that conversation between him and my aunt. But he thinks that it's about money, and it's honestly way more than about money. It's about the principle. Give me what I'm owed. More than about money. Medical history. Family lines. Who's my grandfather? Who's my grandmother? Who's my great-grandfather? Like, it's 2021. I shouldn't have to go out here on a journey and a quest when you're literally alive and well to give me that information. You must be new, because literally in every single video, I already stated that we try to do this in private. This is 3 years ago. I've spoken to him in private, on the phone, FaceTime. I've written him on Instagram in private. He don't want to acknowledge it, so. Part 11. So now at this point, my aunt is on FaceTime with him, and she's basically going over the situation again. And all he has to say is, well, I don't even like the way that you guys went about it. You guys are sending me side-by-side pictures. As you can see behind me, that my aunt wrote him and said, we are looking for paternity, right? Confirming her biology. There were photos, right? But he opened them and left them on scene. So my aunt is like, well, that's all we're looking for. So that's the least you can do. It's been 24 years and we're coming forward in private. He's like, oh, well, my assistant seen that and it was on call for, and I just don't like the way your niece went about the situation. And my aunt is like, but how else was she supposed to go about it? He's like, but why now? I've had the same phone number for 10 years. And in my mind, I'm like, 10 years? Weren't you in jail not too long ago? Like, mind you, this is 2018. So you've had the same phone number in jail? Okay, whatever. So why you guys are coming forth now? My aunt was like, so he makes it a point to say he knows his dad. Okay, you knew your dad, but did your dad do anything for you? Did your dad take care of you? And that's what I think that his mom meant in that conversation. Like, he's doing the same thing his father did. I was 3 or 4 years old when my father left, is what he's saying in this post that he posted up right after that conversation. He's saying basically about his childhood living in Brooklyn, and he's saying that he's born in the late 70s. He was not born in the late 70s. Once again, he's lying about his age. And to me, this post was just like, you're doing everything you can to make it seem like what my mother's telling me and what I know is completely wrong. Meanwhile, we are twins. I'm not too sure if he ever deleted that post, and I highly doubt it, but I just know that for a fact that the Instagram account that he has now is not the same Instagram account that he had 3 years ago. He lost his verified Instagram account because he was on live while during the quarantine. I tried that already. When I get closer to the end of the story, you guys are going to see that I literally went through all my options. Literally all of them. Didn't work. No, please, don't do that. No. I don't even see that me and him look alike, and y'all was all saying that. No. He is too young, I think, to be my dad. I think me and him are like maybe 13 or 14 years apart. I mean, not too young, and not like you can't have a kid that young, but he is not my daddy. Part 12. So at this point, my aunt is talking to him on the phone, and like I said, he's telling her that his father was in his life, so he doesn't know what I'm talking about. My aunt then goes like, I don't even care about any of that right now. Like, we just want to get paternity established. We already know the truth, but since you're denying it, you need the DNA test, right? He's like, oh, what do you mean? I'm not going to just be out here doing a DNA test. I've done this before. This has happened to me several times. Women come to me and say, oh, I have a baby by you, and then I take the test and then it's not mine. And then he's like, but what does she even want? Like, what would be the point of me even doing the DNA test? What does she even want? And my aunt is like, that's what you would have to ask her. Like, that's a conversation that you guys would need to have. I'm only getting involved because we're just trying to make it clear to you that this is your child, honestly. My hair looks OD wild, but yes, that is Snapchat. I literally wrote him on every social media. Remember, this is 2018. Snapchat is still popping. He's still doing promos on Snapchat for celebs. So I'm like, let me reach every outlet that I can. He did open it. He left me on scene, and he did not add me back. He never said he was going to sue me, so I don't even want to put that out there. I only said that I wasn't saying his name because I don't want to get sued for defamation of character. You got to think, I am saying something that could possibly ruin his reputation, and we all have to make a living. On a business level and a human level, I just want it to be right to everybody. I did say that I am coming out about my story, not to defame anybody. I'm just saying what's my truth and only my truth. And honestly, since I have been talking about it on here, I feel so free. Yeah, he's still on Instagram acting like ain't nothing happened. You see, I told y'all. And yeah, he's still on Instagram acting like ain't nothing happened. You see, I told y'all. The craziest part to all of this to me is like, I still have not said his name, and about 95% of you at this point have guessed it. And he's still in denial. He's still on Instagram acting like everything's okay. Like I said, he don't care. Part 13, I'm next. Part 13. So like I said in part 12, my aunt is explained to him. The only reason why I even got involved is because you're not trying to do a paternity test. And me and you already had this conversation 20 odd years ago, and you still was dubbing it. He then proceeds to say, listen, I just been through the situation. I was close with a female, and she had a boy baby, and I was excited. Actually, he said ecstatic. I was ecstatic, and turns out the child wasn't even mine. Even though me and him actually look exactly alike, but whatever. Then he proceeds to say, you think my mother wouldn't love having another girl grandchild? She has a girl grandchild, and my mother and my daughter don't really get along. They don't have a good relationship. So why not give her the opportunity to have the relationship with your parents? Like, this is what I'm saying. He then proceeds to say, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm gonna have to talk to my wife about that. Even though we all know he don't got no wife. Well, at least anymore. After that, they hang up. He then texts my aunt, please send me a picture of your niece, even though he already knows what I look like. You know what's going to happen. He's probably going to kick me out, call security on me. I'm not even going to embarrass myself like that. So I was going to wait to answer this last, but you know what? Why not answering it now? So like I told you guys, since this situation has started, I've literally become the ops, the feds, and everything else. So I've literally been able to find like whoever's his close family members as immediate family, but for whatever reason, his mother took me the longest to find. I didn't find her on any type of like, I guess, background check website up until recently. So once I found her biological real name, I literally was able to find her Instagram. I did write her. I basically said, hey, I'm just coming forward because I think we are related. I didn't want to come off too aggressive, so I put the I think, even though I know we are related. She did respond to me. She went into my highlights and I had a picture of myself and she goes, really, who was your parents? I start by saying my first name. Hi, my name is Ethiopia. I know a lot of you guys don't know my first name. I haven't said it in this whole story, but yes, my name is Ethiopia. I literally was like, I don't know if this sounds weird, but you know, I don't want to come off as weird. I just want answers. I once again tell her the whole story once again. Then I go back and like it because it went like 2 days went by and she never responded. Nothing has happened. To this day, I'm still left on sent. I'm sure she's read it. That's why she's leaving on sent, because you can read messages without letting people know you've read it, if you understand what I'm saying. Before I continue story time, I want everybody to know something. I've left him alone for most of my life. Remember, my mother couldn't find him. We didn't know where he was. He was left alone. It wasn't until 3 years ago we tried to reconnect. I tried to reconnect. It didn't work. It wasn't until recently where I decided to start telling my story and I actually started to feel free within my spirit. I do want people to know that I'm well accomplished. I have 2 degrees. I ain't stupid. But people should know that people are out here perpetrating a fraud and it's not okay. And I ain't mad, but it is what it is. Okay, so for the next part of the story, we're going to have to go back a little to go forward. Let's remember, I already did speak on his mother way too soon, so let me go back to the conversation between him and my aunt. So we left off with the part where she's just telling him, you know, take the paternity test and he's still dubbing it, whatever. The last words he says to her is basically, send me a picture of your niece or whatever. He texts her that. 2 days go by after that and we hear nothing from him. So my aunt decides to call him again. So she starts off like, hello, Mr. EM. The crazier part of this all is that me and him have the same initials unintentionally. Anyway, she's basically just asking him, you know, like, you told me to send a picture. I did send a picture of my niece. I just want to know, when are you going to get back to us about you doing a paternity test? He then goes and says, honestly, I really didn't think about it. And to be honest with you, I don't feel comfortable just putting my DNA out there. I'm not just giving my DNA out to anybody. Ma is like, I'm not just anybody. We had this conversation already. You should be familiar. I'm not one of these little groupies looking for you to be a baby daddy to support them. This is a grown woman we're talking about in this situation. This is not a child. He's like, nah, I'm not with it. It's whatever. So then my aunt is like, you know what? It's a dub. Forget it. We don't need you. It is what it is. So like I said, this is 2018. Haven't heard from him. 2018, 2019, 2020 comes around now. And last summer was just so crazy for me. This time last year, for people who know what it is, you know that every year around this time, it's really big for this person. So I usually, just to be nosy, of course, I go through everything, all the stories, and see what people are posting. So this part gets a little crazy. So like I said, last year around this same time, I am on Instagram being a little nosy. I'm only human, right? And this person reposts a birthday post. And basically I see that someone is making fun of another person calling this person out. Please follow along because, like I said, I'm not saying any names, but you guys already know who I'm speaking about. So I see that this person is calling them out. So you know what I decide to do, right? You guys should know what I decide to do. Your girl decides to write the person that's calling him out. I'm going to make this very clear. Please stop saying that I look like this man in a wig, because this is my real hair, 100% real hair. And if this happens, right, how much you want to bet that he's going to say that I'm still not his child and he is not doing a paternity test? Girl, we just getting started. So like I said, I did write the person that previously exposed them. But I actually waited 24 hours after I seen the post because I just didn't want to make any fast decisions. So once again, I write her and I'm like, this may sound really weird because this is an uncomfortable situation for me. Like, I'm putting myself out there. I don't want people to think I'm crazy. I go to explain the situation. Here's like a brief of it. At this time, I am 25 going on 26. I'm saying that he still denies me. As you can see, this is July 14th last year. She writes me back the next morning, and she goes on to say she is going through the same situation. But hers is a little bit better because her child is actually still young. They actually have a paternity test. And even though they do have the paternity test, he's still denying this child. Just like he won't have a real conversation with me, he really dismisses me. He won't have a conversation with her either. As well, he did disappear from her child's life as he did with mine. And guess what? This child not only looks like him, but also does look like me. Part 17 tomorrow. I ain't doing that, sis. I ain't embarrassing myself. And we're going to see what happens after tomorrow, because tomorrow's a really big day for me, if you get the gist of what I'm saying. I don't know. Everybody keeps asking me this about the money. I don't know. And I just found more paperwork, so God only knows. I can understand. From both point of views. If the shoe was on the other foot, right? This girl's coming out of the blue saying that her dad, whatever, because I'm popping on Instagram and I'm a OT celeb, she could possibly be looking for money or trying to get what I have or whatever. But it's different because I look exactly like him, unfortunately. Exactly like him. So I don't know. I think he thinks that he's a multi-billionaire or something. Like, I'd rather be related to Jeff Bezos at this point. I didn't even think to actually use one of those DNA websites. My plan is to actually travel to the state that she's in. But with COVID and everything, that kind of got delayed. But it's coming around real soon. I'm going to use one of those like official DNA testing places like LabCorp. But this is my thing. What happens after the DNA testing between me and him? My little brother doesn't owe me anything. And what I have behind me is another child support paper, right? This time it's from '07. He never appeared in court. And right now she's going through the same exact thing. So I'm actually going to make this a part of part 17. But I'm going to have to jump a little forward to jump back. Yes, I am going to do a DNA test with my half-brother, yes. But what can it actually do for me? That's just another confirmation. I want you guys to realize that I really don't need a DNA test. We look just alike. We even have some of the same mannerisms, and that's just based off of what I've seen in videos and photos. The only reason why I'm seeking a DNA test is because he's the one who's saying that I'm not his child. So if I'm not your child, do a DNA test. I am only seeking what I'm owed, answers to questions that I have, because I'm human. I grew up without a dad. And when I say I want answers to questions about family lines, I don't have any kids now, but I'm going to have kids, and I need to know what runs in my family. And even after all of this, like I said, my half-brother has a paternity test with him, and he is still denying this child. So a DNA test doesn't really do anything but confirm biology, right? So, I don't know. I've reached out to other family members, including his children that he sometimes claims, whatever. I've even seen one of them in person, but that's another story. I keep seeing the statement, so I'm going to respond to it. So at the time that we were going through our child support case, my mother actually tried to drive by the house and find him. Unfortunately, the house was torn down. They built the new buildings in that same property area. And as I got older and did my own research, I even called the Department of Buildings of New York State. And when we found him in 2018, like I said, I did do a background check just to make sure I'm not bugging and just to make sure that he's actually the person that we're looking for. And as you can see from the child support papers in 2007 and the background check that I did not too long ago, the addresses do match up. But you know how long that'll take if I try to do that? Like, this party that he's promoting heavy is next week. That ain't gonna happen in a week. That's gonna take a minute. And the person that I know that's going through a child support case right now, he's been ducking and dodging them. So we serve him papers, what? He's probably gonna act like he ain't get it, and then that's gonna be it. I honestly just want to speak to somebody in his family who's a little bit, all the way there in the head. Because you guys got to remember, like, he has this lifestyle that a lot of people are not going to want to give up. Because when you're attached to him, you're attached to the lifestyle as well. And for everybody that keeps saying that I should go, you think that he don't got my name on top of the list to not let in? He ain't dumb. And I damn sure am embarrassing myself. I told you guys that already. If you look at the child support papers that I just posted, he was served already. I'm not sure if he got it, but he was served. And I don't know where he was at, probably locked up, but he was served. His family knows that he was served. Who knows? I can only assume. Y'all see him on Instagram right now promoting himself heavy and still posting photos like everything is regular and deleting the comments. I peep everything. I just don't say nothing. You know what's crazy is that a few weeks ago, like Father's Day weekend, I was just thinking about, like, damn, I should do one of those ancestry tests because I don't know where I come from because, the situation. And I don't know. I just got sidetracked and I didn't think to tell that person to do one as well, because I was just thinking about myself at the time. I'm gonna do the last part of the story, but I'm not gonna pose for a few days because I just need to take a mental break. Because literally going over the story in my head over and over again is mentally draining. And y'all see him, right? Living his best life because he don't care. Wait, before I get into the next part of the story, I find this really funny. So as you can see, December 6th, 2019, I literally told him, like, I'm not going nowhere this time. So we're gonna have to figure it out. You're gonna have to grow up. Then he posts a story of him in the nail salon getting a pedicure. And I'm like, why does this man got bare legs? Like, I was like, you shave your legs? Why you have no hair? He's like, it doesn't grow. So you pick and choose when you're gonna respond to me and don't, clearly. So you see me. You do see me. Oh, and by the way, I am blocked from his Instagram. Therefore, that's why it's like a icon with no picture up there. I kind of want to just finish the story on live. What do you guys think? Wait, why you beefing with me? What I do? I'm guessing it's because the way I first started the story. Listen, a lot of y'all was coming for me for the way I was storytelling. I wasn't trying to say any names. My voice was very shaky. I was so nervous. Like, I still have really bad anxiety, and it's 5 days later. I'm a really, really private person, so putting my whole business out there on social media is not it. But since I've been speaking my truth, I feel really free. I'm supposed to be sleeping, but you didn't really miss nothing, sis. I was basically just saying how I did reach out to my older half sister. Nothing happened. Didn't result in anything whatsoever. And how we actually did see each other in person last weekend and nothing was said whatsoever. It was just awkward. The story is not done. But this is emotionally draining and mentally draining on me. I can't keep doing this every day. For the past 5 days, I've been telling y'all what's been going on. So literally, I got to replay it again and again in my head. So I have some things going on for the next 2 days. So I'm going to focus on that and then I'll be back. But I'm so sorry you missed the live. I think when I come back, I'm just going to go on live. I'll tell you guys when I'm going back on. Because we was having a good old time. It was a party. Your good sis made it to blogs and came back with even more receipts. Remember in the story like a few parts ago, I told you that he spoke to my aunt and he asked for pictures of me, but never got back to us? Well, look, send pic of this young lady also. Gonna show my wife, your niece, send a pic. And then the next day, my aunt called him and was like, so what are you gonna do? Like, are we gonna do DNA tests? And he was like, nah. Not sure if you guys can see, but my aunt tells him, like, you know, she wants clarity. She wants to know for sure, either way. But anyway, make sure you guys go on That's So Bold and look at my story. Y'all favorite auntie done saved everything. October 2nd, 2018, 7:53 p.m. I got dates and I got receipts. It just cracks me up how she still has his name saved as sperm donor, because that's what I had his name saved as when I sent her the number. I'm not yours. Let's do a test. If I'm not yours, you're the one who believes that I'm not yours. So let's do a test.
Who is this? So it's a story that I knew her mom's years ago. Her mom's was like some fat chick that I had smashed years ago with a condom. And her mom's, I think I smashed her mom's like one time, like years ago. And then her mom just came out of nowhere, like 20 years later. Like this maybe even she probably was trying to reach me through the, you know, when I was really not as popular as I am now. But now her mom's and she's doing like a whole protest, and every time I read my comments, there's a in my comments talking about give her a DNA test. It's your daughter. Da, 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 da. And truth be told, like she has a picture of me when I was like 18 years old, and she got sticks pitched together like I'm Jay-Z or Puff Daddy or something like, yo, this is my dad, Big Fendi. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, yo, enough is enough. Like I'm not with people trying to come up or trying to. It's called what word? It's called. What the fuck is the word I'm looking for, y'all? When people are trying to, because you're Big Fendi first, say they trying to motherfucking find out. I guess she never really had that kind of attention before, so now she's saying I'm her father. So now she putting it all. She, you know, this is really reading it to her like, oh, this is your daughter. She got a picture. She got a picture of me when I was 17. She using to say I'm her father. Listen, I'm not your fucking father, okay?
I think the craziest part of this all is that even though the video is quite disrespectful, we still look alike in that video. That so you just went on live, right? Looking just like me.